Okay, so for tonight's, we're going to continue with our angle addition laws. So just to kind of recap what those were, we have our sine of A plus or minus B. These followed the same pattern of sine A cosine B. When it was A plus B, we had a plus in between. When it was A minus B, we had a minus in between. But the pattern otherwise, cosine A sine B, was the same. So that was our angle addition for sine. For cosine of A plus or minus B, it was cosine A, cosine B. Now when it was A plus B, it was a minus sign. When it was A minus B, it was a plus sign. And then sine A times sine B. And then lastly, we had our tangent of A plus or minus B, which says tangent of A, and when it was plus, it was a plus. When it was a minus, it was a minus. Tangent B over 1, and now when it was A plus B, it was 1 minus, and when it was A minus B, it was plus tangent of A times tangent of B. So here are the condensed ways to write our angle addition laws. So again, how you read them is the signs that are on top all go together, and the signs that are on the bottom all go together. So A plus B would go with sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B. For cosine, A plus B would go with cosine A cosine B minus sine A sine B. And same thing on the bottom, since the plus is on top, all the signs on the top go with the plus. You can also write them all separately, but this is what we call the condensed way to write our signs. So what we're going to look at today is a couple examples using these same properties, but we're going to be given our information a little differently. So here we're going to be given that sine sine of angle U is equal to 4 over 5, and U is in quadrant 1. And we're also going to be given cosine of V equaling negative 12 over 13 when V is in quadrant 2. We're going to be asked to find sine of U plus V, as well as sine of U minus V. So these are the two things we're going to find with this given problem. So let's start with figuring out our pattern here. So for sine of U plus V, that means we'll have sine of U cosine of V plus, so I'm just following the pattern, so sine U cosine V plus cosine U sine V. From here, I know what sine of U is. It's 4 over 5. I know what cosine V is. It's negative 12 over 13. But I don't know cosine of U or sine of V. That's where coming back up here and drawing out these right triangles for U and V. So for U, I know I'm in quadrant 1. So here's my angle U. My sine, opposite over hypotenuse, I can use the Pythagorean theorem to get my other side. So I can tell you that my cosine of U is going to be 3 over 5. For V, I know that's in quadrant 2, so I'm going to draw it in quadrant 2. There's angle V. My cosine is negative 12 over 13. So again, Pythagorean theorem, and we get that this is 5. Using that, we now know that the sine of V is 5 over 13. Now, one thing I would encourage you to not do that you might be wanting to do is cross cancel. The reason I don't want to cross cancel yet is because I need to add these, and so I want to try to keep my denominators to both be 5 times 13 so that I already have a common denominator. So if I go ahead and just multiply my fractions, I'll get negative 48 over 15 plus, not 15, what am I talking about? 565 plus 15 over 65. So now I do have my common denominator, so I can add them together, and my trig function, or my trig value for sine of u plus v, has an exact value of negative 33 over 65. So this is one of the things that's going to be a little different, and what we do with our addition laws today is we're going to be having to potentially draw out our triangles so that way we can figure out the missing sine or cosine to be able to use in our formula. So now if we do the same thing for u minus v, sine of u minus v. So it's going to follow the similar pattern, sine u cosine v plus, because we're going, actually no minus, sorry. In sine it's the same, cosine u sine v. So we already have our triangles drawn, so now we just need to read off of our triangles each one. So sine of u is 4 over 5, cosine of v is negative 12 over 13, minus cosine of u was 3 over 5, and sine of v was 5 over 13. Multiply, we get negative 48 over 65, minus 15 over 65. So now when we go negative 48 minus 15, we get negative 63 over 65, and that would be your final answer. Okay, so this is just one of the new ways that we're going to look at using our angle addition. There is one more way that we're going to add to this in using our angle addition laws, and that is how to solve. So we're going to go and learn how to solve over the interval 0 to 360. So in other words, doing what we just finished on our last test, and we're going to solve things like sine of x plus pi over 4 plus sine of x minus pi over 4 equaling negative 1. So this isn't a cofunction because it's not 90 degrees. We're at pi over 4 is 45 degrees. So we don't have a cofunction, so what do? This is where our angle addition and angle subtraction laws will come in to help us rewrite, to be able to combine like terms, to potentially be able to factor and solve. And so we're going to do this one in class tomorrow. If you want to try it on your own with at least substituting the angle addition in there to see if you can set it up right, you're more than welcome to do so. And then I have a second one to go with this that I want to do with you. So you are going to have some like these two here where you have to draw out your triangle. And if you want, you can even put a little star next to these. You have one of these like this on your test where you have to draw out the triangle. Okay, so you are going to have a couple of these, and then we're going to have solving. And I'm going to wait to do that in class on Monday when we get back from break, because I have a feeling you're probably going to forget it. So make sure you have this all copied down, maybe make note of any questions that you have, and then we'll do the solving problems in class on Monday. Have a good break.